Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're taking a look at the Sheriff. The Sheriff is the most expensive handgun in Valorant and a lot of fun to play. Before we get into it, leave a like if you enjoy the video and subscribe for more content. Taking a quick look at the stats and some of the pros and cons, we can see that the Sheriff is a semi-automatic handgun with a fire rate of 4 rounds a second. It has very high damage. In fact, the damage is higher than any other pistol or handgun in the game, and one-tap headshots are possible within 30 meters even if an enemy is wearing full armor. The high damage is consistent up to 30 meters, and even at that point it doesn't really drop off too much. The Sheriff has a magazine capacity of 6 rounds, meaning you can kill more than one enemy without having to reload, and it has high wall penetration, making it easier to kill enemies who are hiding behind boxes or walls. Being a handgun, you also get high mobility, meaning you have faster movement speed, helping you get around the map more easily, and you can use this instead of swapping to your knife from your primary weapon, which will give you a better chance at surviving and killing an enemy if you do run into one. That is to say, it could be an effective backup for your primary weapon. Now, taking a look at the cons, we can see that the Sheriff has a fire rate of just 4 rounds a second. This is very low, and it's the main con of using this gun. It's lower than any other pistol except for the shorty. Now, while the damage is higher to offset that, it is a big problem if you're not hitting your shots. It's a lot less forgiving than it would be with a Ghost or Classic. Adding to that, you are not guaranteed a headshot if your enemy is further than 30 meters away. So while you can get one taps 100% of the time when they're within 30 meters, if they are further away, it's going to be 50-50. It depends whether or not they are wearing full armor. This is different to, say, a gun like the Vandal or a gun like the Deagle in CSGO, so keep that in mind. One-tap kills with headshots are not a guarantee. Adding to all that, the magazine capacity of 6 is quite low, so even though it's listed as a pro because you can kill multiple enemies, it's also a con because you really won't realistically be able to ace an entire team with this gun like you would be able to more realistically with something like the Ghost. It can be done, but realistically you will be reloading this gun more often than you'd like. The Sheriff happens to also be a very loud gun. This means there is no suppressor and it is louder than even the Classic, so enemies will hear you from further away. This means it'll be a lot harder to play with in a sneaky beaky way compared to something like the Ghost. As a final con, this gun has very high recoil, so every time you take a shot, it'll be a lot harder to land your next shot if you don't line it up properly. You won't be able to just quickly spam shots and have them be as accurate as you would be with a gun like the Ghost. It takes a bit more time between every time you fire for the recoil to reset. Now, moving on to the aim and movement, with this gun you always want to aim for the head. This is because headshots will instantly kill any enemy with or without armor within 30 meters. And if they are further than that, then one tap to the head will do 145 damage, meaning they only need to take one more shot to die. And if they've already been hit by another enemy player, you will kill them instantly. So you always have to be aiming for the enemy's head, and that is where Crosshair Placement comes in. Crosshair Placement is key to doing well with this weapon and most other weapons in Valorant. So you want to make sure that the crosshair in the center of your screen is always aiming for where an enemy's head will appear if they come round a corner, or if you go round a corner and see an enemy. This is known as Crosshair Placement, and it is fundamental, especially with a gun like the Sheriff, where you really need to aim for the enemy's head at all times. Sidestepping is also a very effective strategy with this weapon, and you need to know how to do it effectively if you want to do well with the Sheriff. To do this, from behind cover, first visualize in your head where the enemy's head would likely appear if you were to pop out of cover and take a shot. Then place your crosshair for where you think it should be to hit the enemy's head as soon as you pop out of cover. And finally, strafe to the side, try to readjust your aim if needed, take the shot, and then strafe back into cover as fast as you can. Keep in mind, as you take the shot, you should be standing still. So even if it's only for a split second, you should be strafing out, standing still, taking the shot, and then strafing back into cover. This will help you kill many enemies and stay alive at the same time. It will help you to hold off an area because enemies don't want to be one-tapped, and they realize that if you do sidestep at any point, you could easily one-tap them as long as your shots are accurate. And this is a big part of what makes the Sheriff so powerful. It's the one-tap headshots. Now, with the Sheriff, generally you want to position yourself at a mid to long range distance. You don't want to be too close because you will be at a disadvantage, and it's very unforgiving if you do miss a headshot because enemies will just rush you and kill you fast. And you don't want to be too far because then you won't be guaranteed any headshots. So I recommend positioning yourself about 20 to 30 meters away from the enemy, and that way you will survive a lot more because it will be harder for them to just kill you fast, and you will be able to get one-tap headshots, which is what you should be aiming for anyway. Use cover as much as possible and try to sidestep effectively as much as you can, because that really is the best tactic for killing enemies and staying alive. And remember, the Sheriff has high wall penetration, so you can kill enemies hiding behind boxes or walls. Try it out and you'll probably get a lot more kills than you would have expected. Also remember, you don't have to reload every kill. 6 rounds in the magazine is enough to kill more than one enemy. Remember that. Only reload when it's safe or when you feel like you really have to. Aside from that, this gun can be a very effective backup to whatever primary weapon you might be using. Swapping to your handgun is a lot better than reloading your primary weapon a lot of the time, and this can save your life or help you secure an aggressive kill. Now, as a final note, I wouldn't recommend using this gun on a pistol round where other enemies normally don't have armor and they just have pistols, but I would recommend it for eco rounds where you are trying to save money and you know that the other team has armor and has primary weapons. It can be very effective in those cases because of the one-taps, whereas in a pistol round, most people won't be wearing armor anyway, and you will be able to get one-taps more easily with a weapon like the Ghost. That's all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more content, and I really appreciate everyone who already has. We've got over 500 now, so thank you very much for that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.